Sometimes that's the way it happens, folks. Your Chiefs own not only the AFC West, but most of the AFC. Welcome back. It's RGR. We are post-game live after whooping up on the Los Angeles Chargers for honestly what was a tighter game in the first half than it was the second. Chiefs overpower them in the end. A lot of great takeaways from this. Your Chiefs are riding out front in the AFC right now, and you should be super pumped. Welcome to RGR Football. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy, and this is the #1 channel for breaking down the actual game the Chiefs play, and that is American-style football. Welcome to a 31-17 win. Cheers to the Chiefs. I love this graphic, so I just thought I would use it and get it out here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoy that one. We will come back to what happened with our pick'em game. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I did something very, very rare. You're going to have to hold on for a couple of minutes to hear me actually tell you about it, though, because I don't like to admit it very often. So, Dan, bottom line, for me, it was the fact that Travis Kelce was an absolute beast. We all know that he likes to play hard against the Chargers. Derwin James got his number the first meeting last year, right? And this felt almost like, hey, I'm just going to make up for all that. I got the girlfriend in the house, the whole 9 yards. Like, I'm not stopping. 179 yards on the day. This is officially peak Travis Kelce. Like, all the injury stuff is behind him. He's ready to roll, right?
He's not even fully healthy yet. He really isn't. Like, he looks back to normal, but he's still, I bet you he's playing through quite a bit of pain every single game, and you never would know it because he does not care about that stuff. All he cares about is winning. And I don't really care what's going on with him and Taylor, but all I got to say is ever since she's shown up, Travis Kelce has left the building. Whatever game he's playing that she's at, he is all over the place early, and it forces defenses to have to adjust. We're going to see a little bit different from the Chargers next game, where they're going to be bracketing Kelce from minute 1. He's not going to be asked. He's not going to be doing what he did in this game. But the fact that they didn't come out and just bracket him in the first place is kind of hilarious to me. That Brandon Staley's been doing this for 3 years, and he was like, nah, Travis ain't going to do it again. Oh, okay. That's right. We
ain't got to worry about him.
Your best weapon against him had been, almost not playing all week long in Derwin James. And he was ineffective in this football game. He was nowhere to be found. Nowhere at all. So this was just one of those. By the way, if you guys listen to the game plan, I told you this game was going to be close and they would pull away at the end. Okay. I had 31-21. 31-17 is pretty damn close. And I'm going to take a win on that one.
I am an idiot. I had it right on Locked On Chiefs. I called the exact score, and then I started to doubt myself. And folks, what I was getting at is our pick. I mean, if you're not joining us on Fridays, or if you're new to this channel at all, hit the sub right now. Become part of this channel. Like this video if you please would. That helps the algorithm. And also want to say that if you're getting the notifications, you got to turn them all on your device. That will help you get there. But if you were with us on the Friday live stream, that's our game plan, our prep whole thing, right? I do want to show you guys what happened that doesn't generally happen because I just don't like to do this. We nailed all the Chiefs side of it, right?
Yeah.
What I did is I committed something, a sin that I do not do very. I overestimated Keenan Allen. He didn't do jack in this ballgame.
It's funny because he had been doing a bunch against every single team. He was the focal point, and it was not the case in this game. I know he had some times, but again, when you're playing the majority of the time out of the slot, you're going to get locked up from, Clamps McDuffie. I know that he had a couple of snaps that he would want back. By the way, that was not pass interference. He was not pass interference on that call.
No, it was
absolutely not. That was a bunch of crap. But again, my TV heard it. And Trent McDuffie was giving himself a fantastic time. And again, the two guys, actually the three guys who were supposed to beat the Chiefs, they didn't put up any fantasy points.
Nope. Didn't do nothing.
Funny enough.
And so despite our immediacy, we are not winning yet at Pick'em. We are here to guide you through it, though. And if you guys want to support us, you can support Underdog. You can get into daily fantasy sports over there. There's a link in the description. And if you just go to underdogfantasy.com, you can use our code RGR. So again, this is 2 weeks in a row. We didn't quite nail it, but we're getting better. Lamar Jackson kind of threw us for a loop as well. I do have to say,
that one was just not prepared. Was not prepared for the Lions defense falling on their face and Lamar having his best game of the season. So yeah, that was not what I was prepared for.
Fair enough. So what we're going to do tonight, we go through our notes, our takeaways. You guys that are in the memberships know that later in the week, you will get my notes and you'll be able to see them, download them for yourself if you like the whole 9 yards. But we're going to give you our takeaways, the things that we noticed, the details that go into this win. Then tomorrow, tomorrow evening, we will answer all your questions. That's the weekly Q&A at 7 o'clock Central. Make sure that you're here for that. We'll try to answer a couple of your questions tonight if we have time, but we have a ton to talk about. So if you have a super chat and you definitely want to get a topic on there or make your comment or ask a question, go ahead and throw the super chat in there. Every super chat gets an answer guaranteed, but we have a lot to talk about otherwise. So biggest takeaway for you, Dan, when you look at it all, what won this game?
Charles Omenihu played way more snaps than I expected him to play. Way more. I was not expecting him to essentially be the starting defensive end outside of George Karlaftis. That was not on my bucket, on my bingo card. That one's on me. I just thought they would let him get up to speed. Absolutely not the case. And not only was he impactful, he forced 2 change of possessions. He had the sack and he tipped the ball that went into I believe it was Snead's hands, that he ended up falling into. Whoever caught the interception, I forget who it was, my apologies, but they were getting after Justin Herbert. The front of this Kansas City defense, it didn't necessarily need to have the blitzes and the stuff because they were whooping up on anybody that it was. Chris Jones, they had tons of quarterback hits. They were winning everywhere. So Omenihu was fantastic, and a little bit about what the Chargers were doing and why it was causing their defense so much trouble. They were not having any schematic defensive issues. The problem is the Chargers have done this in the past. They went up tempo. What that does is it keeps the defense that's currently on there on the field, and you can't change. You can't call a different defensive scheme, blitz, whatever it is. But
get your packages in.
Kellen Moore had deep play action passes built in off of their quick hurry up game. Typically, if you guys saw the tweet from Mitch Schwartz, he did a fantastic job of talking about it because he's an ex-football player. But on your hurry up your hurry up calls, they're typically quick. It's typically a quick game. It's just to snap the ball to get them out of position and get a quick pass. The opposite was happening. That's why the Chiefs defense was giving up those big plays on the hurry up. They weren't in technically bad position. They were just got out of cycle in their switches, and they couldn't call the right defense for the situation. And then the Chargers had those deep play action passes built off of them. That's a fantastic first half adjustment by Kellen Moore to have those built in. But you want to know what happened in the second half?
Bad stuff.
Absolutely nothing.
To do it. And I'm desperately trying to blow this up here so that you guys can just see Dana, Gay, Wharton, Karlaftis, 2 by Omenihu, Tranquil, and Chris Jones, all with quarterback hits. The context on a guy that already has a broken finger on his left hand. It's just the constant pounding. That's what did it. Yes, they got sacks. Dana, Gay, Karlaftis, Omenihu, Tranquil, all got sacks, but it was the additional contacts and hitting him that went there. The other nice thing that you saw, there were times that I felt that this young secondary was kind of on the ropes. Josh Williams had a bad day out. I have no concept of why, but that's the fact. And it was due to tempo. It was due, I think, to what they were trying to do early. But then they recovered, and they all look at how many of these PBUs they got. Multiple guys. Obviously, the big takeaway by Cook at the end. Edwards almost had another one. I told you right over the middle he was going to have an opportunity. He was this close to proving me right. And I was kind of cussing at Mike because of that, unfortunately. But, it is what it is. There were a lot of guys making contact with ball, making contact with Justin Herbert, and that's what sealed this ball game. Big takeaway for me, you guys saw my list. Many who I agreed in was in my top 5 reasons. We don't have, at least I haven't seen anything since we started live that has confirmed anything about Nick Bolton yet. That is going to be the hold your breath moment, because that's going to be an issue going forward if he is significantly hurt. Now, is it going to hurt them long-term on the field? Drew Trank will prove tonight that he can walk in and up his output when he's asked to step into that role if Nick is hurt. But long-term through the season, let's hope that it's not. The two things that I am most concerned about, and that is a fracture of any of the wrist bones in here or a radial fracture. If you have an ulnar fracture, you can usually splint that off. It'll come along a little bit quicker. But if you have a radial fracture in there, that's going to be a problem. So those are the diagnoses that you guys want to watch for as you check out social media or whatever tonight. That's what we're going to be looking at. And, there are a couple of folks already talking about that. Can Bolton play while recovering from a broken wrist? Probably not. It's more, is it possible? Yes. But it is more of a risk because you're going to bang it around.
The problem, like, I know people are saying just club it up. If you have a broken hand, that's one thing, okay? Because you're not worried about anything down here. But jarring stuff down here with just a club, you can break more bones in your arm and your all the way down into your elbow by having a club on. Because guess what? You have no movement. If you have no movement, all of this is one motion. If you get this hit one way, you could shatter your entire arm. Like this, no, absolutely not. It's unfortunate, but he cannot play with the broken wrist or anything in the forearm.
Yeah, the forearm in particular, if one bone is unstable, you lose stability through the whole limb because in here, all these bones of your hand are connected together with ligaments. So they have backup. And especially if they are clubbed up, they then have compression on the outside, which creates more stability in the joint. You don't have that at the forearm, so you got to be really careful with it. I am watching patiently as we go through tonight's stream. Again, folks, we are live post game. If we do get an update on Nick Bolton, I will let you guys know right away because I see there's a ton of comments about it. We're going to go through. It was certainly one of my big takeaways. For me, it was top of the list, to tell you the truth. Let me go back to it here. I felt like Patrick Mahomes came out and did everything he needed to do tonight. The dealing in the first half in particular, he was alternating. When they had to go quick, they could go quick. It wasn't the spool up that we usually see him have to do, where it's like, oh, we're gonna go quick game for a while. It was okay. I'm gonna take a shot. I'm gonna let it develop, and then boom, a couple of quicks, and then back. I felt it was probably his best performance in terms of tempo and release and understanding the pressure, which there was none of. That's going to be a takeaway we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Oh, baby.
I felt this was probably Patrick's best performance of the season.
This was the buildup, okay? We all told you that they moved the ball at will against the Broncos. They just didn't execute in the red zone, and they had some missteps there. This game, you didn't really see a lot of that. Obviously, you had the fumble, which you can argue if he had possession, if he didn't have possession, whatever. Okay, it happens. I get that. It's hard to really say, and they were trying to do a really good job of making it seem like Pacheco fumbled the ball. I thought Tony Romo specifically was trying to say, well, he fumbled the ball. Well, go ahead and prove it to me, Tony, which you couldn't do. So that was one thing. But they were able to just do whatever they wanted to. I thought receivers were open everywhere. In second half, you saw a bit more physicality from the Chargers defensive backs specifically, but also they were just continuing to draw up plays for Travis Kelce. This is not because guys weren't getting open on some of those missteps that we saw on third down. It was because Patrick was going to Travis Kelce first, because that's what it is. But I told you the go ball for Rashee Rice was coming. He beat his man so quick, and Mahomes missed him. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown if he does not miss him.
I think Rice stumbled a little bit too, so I think there was still a possibility to get connected.
Either way, I'm not sure if he would have stumbled if the ball would have been on target. I think he stumbled trying to speed up to catch it. I think that was the thing, but you can't really tell that on the film or if he'll tell you or whatnot. But regardless, they are clicking. They're firing on all cylinders, but also the Chargers defense is bad. It's really bad. So
they did a good job taking away the run early. So, like, they focused on that. And Pacheco, kudos to Andy Reid. He ended up, what did Pacheco end up with? 13 carries. Obviously, wasn't getting the yards, but he kept grinding. And Andy didn't give up on it. I was really happy with that. A couple of McKinnon, I don't know what they were doing with Clyde. Clyde didn't have it tonight. But, yes, it was a ton of passing, 42 dropbacks. Honestly, it was probably 45 dropbacks, to tell you the truth, that turned into scrambles as well. But kudos to Andy for, yes, he lowered the percentage, but he didn't abandon the run. And I think that helped tonight.
You have to stay consistent a little bit because we talked about how if you don't, the team won't respect it. Obviously, the Chargers came out tonight, like you said, with a plan to stop their run game. Every single defense will have to do that with this effort, okay? They'll have to do it because if you don't, guess what? Andy Reid just showed you he's willing to go to it in these key moments. And that man, Trey Smith, just that play, that draw play was so beautiful. I'm not sure if it was a draw. I couldn't really tell on the cast, but either way, that's what happens when you get a little bit of that RPO handoff look. Like they did a great job of selling the RPO handoff look. But I mean, hey, Brandon, I don't know if you happen to see the film room from Wednesday. We talked specifically about how Rashee Rice is the number one receiver in Kansas City. So this was the welcome to the NFL number one wide receiver Rashee Rice moment today. He had the game. He's destroying defenses with dig routes over the middle of the field. Things that we told you after week 2 he should have been doing for the whole season. Hey, look at that. We're back to it. So I'm telling you,
we emphasized last week attacking the middle with Rice, with Tony as well. Got him one of his targets early in the middle. And folks, apologies for my spelling. I'm doing this live as the game goes off and trying to record all my thoughts. So my spelling is even worse than normal. So when you get here, yes, you're going to see things like picked that I can't even make that word look right. So don't be alarmed. It's pretty normal. Yes, Brandon Rice is emerging as the number one. I think he has the ability certainly next season. But right now he's going to continue to get it fed. And kudos, Chiefster. Mecole, welcome back. A little quiet early. Obviously, the return was the big explosion, but nice to see him get in on the actions the following drive as well.
Yeah, I just want to point this out, Frankie. I don't know if you listened to the live stream, but we specifically said that he would play sparingly. And we said he'd probably be the punt returner, which turns out he was the punt returner. And he did play sparingly. He had a really big play. I think Ryan was talking about him getting in the end zone. I just said that he wouldn't get in the end zone. That was what I was trying to point out. But now that we're here, Mecole Hardman, welcome back, baby. A third down catch conversion inside the 20-yard line. That's reminiscent of what he did in the AFC Championship game. Very reminiscent. It was a big third down, big moment, and Mahomes might have found a guy that he will trust on third down, even though it should be Rashee Rice as well. And I think that today, all of the receivers did their jobs well. I think they all played well. I think they all got open consistently throughout the game and were able to make plays at key moments when Mahomes went to them. And that was a big thing.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, I know I got a little over exuberant. I thought Mecole would score. Okay, I can live with that. I'd rather be optimistic for once because I'm usually pretty realistic, but hey, that's all right. I didn't think that Ross, this is from Knicks fan, I didn't think that Ross had a look pass interference on that phantom call, right or wrong. I remember. Yeah, he definitely
pushed off.
It was something that he did in training camp quite a lot, and people were concerned about it then, and it did come back to bite him. I did write it down somewhere. I might have overwritten it, but yeah. And I didn't see him on the field much outside of that play. I could have missed it, but we'll see what they come back and talk about there. Obviously, Mecole getting that shot late in the game, that's just a comfort thing. And so I think maybe we have not given enough credit to how difficult it is to build that chemistry and that trust because we felt like it was coming along and clearly it didn't. So there's still work to be done there. Let's see. Did Tony get hurt in the second half? I don't believe so. I haven't seen anything of it in the post game. You guys are watching the post game a little bit closer than I am. And thank you guys. It looks like it's a dislocated wrist. Okay, that's better than a fracture. I like that. We'll have to see about ligament damage. That probably means a follow-up MRI. Hopefully, we'll have an answer on that tomorrow.
Just gonna shout this out real quick. I don't know if is it not going to. Got a little blackberry cider going on here from the KC Wine Company. This is fantastic. They have a strawberry, they have a pineapple, they have a regular, and they have a blackberry. They're all fantastic.
Nice. I like it. Dang. Andrew, he did have to give up a few snaps. We're going to see what it comes out to in totals. But that also is a weak game plan. I think it's going to continue to rotate, but clearly Rice is the focus as he should be. Terry, that is why they traded to get him back. Jason, thank you for watching the Friday show. I had it right on Chiefs, Locked On Chiefs on Thursday. And then Friday on the live stream, I was like, oh man, Keenan's going to
I
want to make
intimidated him.
Yeah.
I intimidated Ryan. I did. I said 31 and Ryan, he backed off the number. I don't know why he did, but he did. He shouldn't do it.
I'm constantly adjusting. I overdid it that time. I will get that. Andy, Andy, if you really want to know, I am wearing my famous khaki stretch bird dogs. You can get those with the code Locked On Chiefs at birddogs.com. There you go. So thanks for asking about the pants there, Andy.
I like it.
Free segue into an ad. I love that. Longmorn, hope you're doing well. 569. I love that. Charles and Mecole both played well, and I thought than I thought he would. I was actually we talked about him and he was really happy with that.
Yeah.
Happy with Mecole as well. I didn't see them both having such an impact on the game.
No.
The lift Mecole gave, I don't think should be understated.
The punt return, that is, I think everybody was like, that's what you came back for. That really was. I mean, Washington had a really good one his first game, but he's been up and down since. And this one was a big moment. They needed to have good field position after 2 punts back inside their 10-yard line where they couldn't get off the schneid. And then you get a really great punt return where he accelerates. And the one thing that we talked about on Friday, but he separates him from MVS, is his pure 0 to 60 acceleration, where he showed it right there in that punt return, and it made a difference. And it's also what got him open over the middle of the field on 3rd down for that big conversion. So yes, he was absolutely impactful, should not be overstated. I think what I guess better than we thought, the Mahomes trust he has in him. Like, it seemed like last year when he got hurt is when it developed. Kind of crappy how that happens, right?
Yeah.
But almost out of necessity, he had to go back to Mecole more often than maybe he wanted to in his last season, which also might tell you that maybe sometimes Mahomes doesn't go places that he needs to do. Just saying, but that trust is clearly there. That's a big moment, and he made a big play, and Patrick just kind of lobbed it up to him and let him go make that. That's a big thing too. It wasn't just a bullet past him wide open. He threw it up to him. That's a big thing.
That's some trust, and you got to have that as well. Longmorn, thank you, sir. Appreciate the support.
Thanks, Longmorn.
Nick, hope you're doing well. I was at the game. Nice.
That
Patrick looked lethal, and Rasheed was explosive. Good to hear, Nick. I'm glad that you confirmed that. And thank you for the support, pal. I mean, those are the two things that you need to see a step forward. And against a divisional foe that was supposed to be the next best competition in the AFC West, that's significant. If we go and look at the standings, I do want to show you guys those because it's important. Here is the AFC. Chiefs are squarely up top with it, still 4-0 in the conference. Their difficulty schedule is actually coming up a little bit. You can see the Dolphins is not. It's still down. Strength of victory at under quarter 0.25. That's crazy to me. Buffalo lost today, hurting themselves. Obviously, we saw Baltimore do good things. I thought Jacksonville was pretty on. I didn't see anything of Pittsburgh today, so we'll circle back to that later in the week. Longmore Ryan called the cook in, didn't I? Honestly, I said it was a possibility, but I was actually leaning towards Mike Edwards, who almost got one as well. So I was close, Longmore, and I was close. I was just a smidge off all the way around this weekend. Lost in fantasy. Lost in pick'em. I'm just not on top of it.
This early slate, by the way, was awful. Nearly every team that I thought was going to win their game lost. Almost every single one of them. The Browns tried so hard to lose that football game. They tried so hard. So that was tough. It was a tough watch. Also, by the way, Frankie, no problem, man. We're all just here having fun. I just, I had an opportunity to call out what we did on the live stream. We're all just busting chops here. We're here to have fun. No big deal, man. And I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're going to get some wrong. Y'all been with us on the draft, right? So we will get some wrong. When we get them right, we're going to call them
always,
out too,
man.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is all the back and forth, right? So no big deal. We're all on the road.
Appreciate you, Frankie.
Man. Very much so. Tyler was never in full possession of the ball. Actually, that was Blake Bell, but I agree. Yeah. Like he did turn. I agree with their call. It was a fumble. It was a good punch up by the defender. Let's be real.
Yeah.
The one on Pacheco, I think they got right, despite Tony taking it completely in the other direction on the broadcast.
So I was
There's
so
no
frustrated with that.
and I don't care if you get one hand off the ball. Pacheco goes into it, braced up, 2 arms wrapped around the ball. You get one off. He's still in possession, folks. That
that's
ain't
the
loose.
point. That's the biggest thing I was talking about. He was doing that on purpose because even if you do lose a little bit of movement, guess what? You can't confirm where the ball is. You can't do it. So, I'm just want to take a moment here. The first thing that I have written down in my notes is because it's the first thing that I got to watch is CBS sucks. Okay, they suck. I could not watch the entire first drive, so I don't have.
I couldn't either.
I don't have actual statistics for the personnel packages. So thank you again, CBS, for that. Also, thank you for making me believe that the Browns were trying to throw me back to 2017 with that Kareem Hunt touchdown. Like, you guys aren't watching the Chiefs, but we'll give you a little bit of something here when he scores a touchdown. So thanks for taking so long to change the broadcast that I had to sit here and take notes about the Browns-Colts game that I had zero interest in watching.
And by the way, YouTube TV, that's at you as well. I pay for the package, so I don't have to deal with that crap anymore. You should have switched off of it. It should not be based on the CBS broadcast. CBS, you're in trouble. I'm tired of your BS. Tyler, what's the standard rule for possession to fumble? A possession, especially on a catch, is generally considered 2 hands in control, 2 steps, or a football move, all of which were included in that. Now, push-off generally is a lot cloudier. It is forced separation by one of the players, offensive or defensive. Generally, it's going to include an extended arm, which Russ did not do. But there was a lot of physicality there. I think that should have been a non-call in my opinion, but that's just me.
I think the biggest difference was because he didn't extend, but it was a forceful push. It was this. This is what he saw. The guy backed off. Also, he wasn't even running the route all the way through. Like, what are we doing here? You want to throw a go ball to him in the red zone. And I mean, I think I saw him a few more times on the field, but at the end of the day, you want to run a go route, and Mahomes wants to put it to where you can get the ball. If you just go to the cornerback and just put hands on and don't try to get by him, what is that? That's just not the effort. I'm a little frustrated with Justin Ross, to be very honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need that. You're enough of an athlete. You don't need to do that. Elevate. Go get the ball.
Exactly. Trust in your instincts. Don't be pushing off when you don't need to.
Yeah, agreed. Tyler, I'm glad that you were able to get it. I didn't realize you were in Germany, so cheers. Another couple of people felt the same way, including Robert. Justin, well-timed. Your comedic timing continues to be spot on, my friend. I'm not even going to answer it because I know you're joking. Jackson, welcome to the memberships. Cheers to you. Thanks for your
Jackson. What's going on?
Hope that you're enjoying the extra content. Sorry for all the bad words that I used on Friday. I was a little triggered.
Don't be sorry. We're all a little triggered.
I'm going to be all right. Was it our receivers actually getting open or more Chargers' poor pass defense? Yes and yes. Dan showed you the last couple of weeks. Sky's been open. Rashid's been open. People are open. Patrick was moving and actually attacking things a little bit more aggressively, in my opinion, particularly to Sky. It might not have turned into more catches, but he was more aggressive with the ball.
And the offensive line gave them nothing. Mahomes could get outside the pocket. He could move around. They could not keep him in the pocket because the offensive line was fantastic in this football game. It was a symphony of, outside of the pressure on 3rd and 15, you don't have very many plays drawn up for 3rd and 15. They collided for a sack, whatever. It was beautiful. He could get out. He could step up. He could sit there and do whatever he needed to. Everything that Jawan Taylor has dealt with this season, extra eyes from referees, some penalties, some mental instability on his part. This game, yes, he played against some hobbled and older players in Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, but Khalil Mack's still every bit as powerful as he's always been, and he gave no quarter.
Ground.
Absolutely nothing. He was fantastic, and he's one of the guys that I have written down multiple times. Jawan Taylor, fantastic in this football game. Hats off to you, man.
Yep. I put it in the middle of the notes during the play. I said, Joey who? And in the end, it was he and Mac quiet, not pressuring PM at all. When he broke the pocket, he broke it of his own volition, not because he was forced out of it, except for maybe once. I felt like that was great. And I'm glad that you got to Taylor before I did because he deserves the credit. Jackson, I hope that makes sense. I think it's all a bit of a combination, but giving Mahomes time certainly equates into completing more passes. So
absolutely.
Thank you, buddy. Jonathan, hope you're doing well. Man, Rice looks like a lot like Sammy Watkins. I know, man. I've been feeling it for a while, and especially when he lowers his shoulder and runs through a dude. That's what I'm like. In fact, I backed it up. Made everybody who was watching with me like stop. I was like, I got to make sure that's not Derwin again from the last time he got run over by a Chiefs player. So I wanted to go check. But yeah, definite vibes.
Put the shoulder down. He is not just the number one receiver, but he's establishing himself in this offense as a go-to player. You can be the number one in an offense, but he's an electric player. He's just showing he can be physical as well. And both him and Sky Moore have been very good blockers. Like multiple times when you see Patrick get out of the pocket and start going up, what is the one thing you always see Sky Moore? He is blocking his ass off every single time. So I love that stuff. I absolutely love it.
And I don't think the broadcast did a good enough job that when Mahomes was praising the guy, it was Sky Moore that he was praising for making that block to get him that extra 5 yards. That was important. That's all effort. That's all want to. And that's what you got to have. If you guys want to have extra stuff, you got to show some want to too and get in the memberships. When you do at the rookie level or above, you get into you get into the Discord, you get all the extra stuff, you get us yelling at the sky or whatever it happens to be that week. So that's over. Join at the rookie level or above right below Dan, and you can get into all that. Sugary, I thought MVS did have a better night. Oregon, you're absolutely right. A dislocation could require surgery to tighten things up. If those ligaments have been ruptured or stretched, there is a significant risk there as well. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm just trying to get to all the super chats as the pressers are ending and I have to get over to Locked On Chiefs here shortly. Nick, this might be sacrilegious, but where does Chris Jones compare to DT in terms of dominance? Sadly, I never got to see him with my own eyes. Oh, I am sad for you as well. Chris Jones is arguably the best defensive tackle to play in this organization ever. He's not on Derek's level. He's just not there. And from someone who did watch him, someone who was in the gym and watched him train, there is just a different thing about who Derek Thomas was. They will go together on the Chiefs Mount Rushmore eventually, but there is still a level of exertion above. I would say that I would put Chris with Neil Smith, though.
Yeah, there's a little bit difference playing on the outside as well. A little bit more consistent on the outside. You have to be a more powerful, consistent, athletic player to win as many times as Derek Thomas did. And Chris is, for every great thing that he is, don't take this the wrong way. Don't spin it the wrong way. He is way quicker than any, hear me right, any interior offensive lineman in the NFL. Okay. So he is also a step ahead of them whenever he's on the inside. The fact that he's winning as much on the outside this year as he is a testament to his training and his preparation. He's never won this much before on the outside ever in his career.
True.
He's doing it better now than he ever has. He's growing as a player. He's getting better. And that what he's doing right now is a reason he might be forcing the Chiefs' hand with a contract extension because he's become so valuable.
Well, and he's rubbed off too. Kudos to Charles Menahue. He showed up ready to go. He showed up to understanding the full width of his game. I mean, let's be real. What is this? His fifth season? Sixth season. He's a vet, but he's not like, the crafty 10-year veteran or anything like that.
Yeah,
right?
No, he's 27.
He came in, he's batting passes, he's rushing well from the outside, he's compressing the pocket from the inside, he's doing everything he had to do, and he had to be in shape to do it. So when you're trying to live up to playing next to Chris Jones, that's significant. And I do think that this was just the start. The more those guys play together, the better this is going to be. So hey, I'm on top of it. And you know what? I don't have to take your crap, Jason. I'm about sick of it.
Hi, Jason.
Yes. So folks, say hi to my brother.
Hey, Jason, you still need to get back with me about getting a camera that doesn't have batteries. We gotta figure this out.
Okay. We'll do an emergency.
I'm tired of this thing dying.
Jake, just for you, look at that. Look at all that. Does that trigger you at all? Does it trigger you? Okay, don't get twitchy, brother. It's gonna be all right, buddy. Callie, how about our right tackle? He's much better. And I saw 2 or 3. Yeah, absolutely, Callie, you got it. And I saw 2 plays too where he had a really nice get off on the snap, and the line judge is looking right at him, no call. So, like, yes, it's settled down, but he's also like gotten it so that he knows Mahomes a little bit better and doesn't even look like he's leading early anymore. He's just gotten that twitch down enough to make it really work. So, Jason, glad you were able to be on. And hi, Kat and family. Mwah. Let's see. Chef Boy, rate Brian Cook's game and have a friend that thinks he's horrible. Oh, you have a friend that thinks he's horrible. Let's make 2 things clear. And Dan, if you want to go first, I'll stop just yakking.
No, you're fine. Brian Cook is pretty much everything I told you. He's very infuriating. He's up and down. He makes plays. He gives up plays. Like he's still very much trying to figure it out, but he's playing out of position. Let's be honest. He's not. For the majority of his career, he has not been a deep half or a deep safety. That he's been in the box. He has been figuring it out in the box. So he is still transitioning. It's a very different transition from always moving downhill to always moving back. Let's not forget, like your natural instinct after doing it so long is to trigger downhill. So you see him underneath the plays a lot because he's like, I kind of need to start moving forward. No, you need to start moving back. Like that's what you need to do.
And he gets caught in exactly that. Herbert was doing a very good job of controlling the secondary with his eyes. And that's another thing that just comes with time as being the single. But I'll tell you the 2 plays that make the bigger difference to me. Yes, there's some mistakes, certainly. The 2 big things. He got beat initially on that deep ball to Allen, but he doubled back. He corralled him again. And when he got a little help, he was the guy who made that tackle in the open field. He makes open field tackles, and he can correct some of his mistakes.
Both Kansas City Chiefs safeties early in the game having some problems. They were absolutely straps. They were strapped up in the second half. Justin Reed was fantastic, and Brian Cook was everywhere. And Mike Edwards, when they were playing more ahead, he was awesome. Like when they are in the lead in the second half, this defense is fantastic. They're great.
Hey, I'm pretty happy with where they are. And I think, like you said, reps for Brian Cook are going to make him better as the free. He understands his role, though, and that's why he tracks, and that's why he keeps things in front of him, and he didn't let him get past him there. And obviously, that was a nice break. He saw that pass coming. Some of that was that Herbert was giving it away. So
yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't say that it was the most instinctual play, but he's paying attention, and he's starting to learn what that field looks like from way back here, which is very different for him. So I like that as well. Let's see here. We're going to run down to the bottom so I can get over to the other one. Thank you, Justin. You got 3 in a row in here, buddy. Appreciate that. If you guys would hit that like, we would very much appreciate you. And thank you, Justin, for your help. How do you feel about Mecole coming back now? I feel great about it. I felt pretty happy with it, especially given when I found out what his base salary was. I was not saying that they shouldn't do it. I just was surprised that they had. When you look at it, except for what might happen in the compensatory picks, when you just look at the actual trade value, they're giving up a low 6th for what is likely to be a very high 7th. They might move 10 spots back, and that's probably going to be about it. So value-wise, it's a great get.
Like I'd like it a lot more if Mecole's coming back next year. I'll be very honest with you. Like the taking away of a possible 4-year developmental player, I get it. It's not great, process to not taking this and taking one of those 6-round picks and getting somebody that may or may not fit your system. I understand all of that. But if you do that and then you bring in Mecole, who ends up going somewhere else again next year, that's just as bad process, in my opinion. Because one, you understood halfway, not even halfway through the season, that your plan originally didn't work and you kind of panicked. I'm glad Mecole's back. Don't get me wrong. He's played great today. And his snaps that he was game changer at the end. Zero qualms about that. But going forward, I would like him to be back next year and really make this commitment to what they've kind of done in their system, in my opinion, because I do think that him coming back is an important get for their wide receiver room, specifically because MVS may or may not be back next year. So I would like to see if they do bring him in like they did, keep MVS or keep Mecole Hardman, let MVS walk and figure it out. My own personal opinion now.
Agreed. Yeah, I see people talking about drops in the chat. I didn't feel like drops were an issue tonight. There might have been one that officially goes as a drop. I don't think so. MVS was 3 for 5. Rice 5 for 6. Pacheco was perfect. McKinnon was perfect. Moore 3 for 2. Everybody else was perfect except for Mecole. He got targeted 3 times, only 1 catch. Kelce only missed 1. I don't recall even typing drop in my notes. I'm going to double check.
No,
that
I didn't either.
Okay. So
I mean, I guess Travis kind of dropped the ball. I know that there was a punch through at the end there, but I think Travis should come down with that ball 9 times out of 10, and this happened to be that 10th time that he didn't, and he was mad about it too. So I guess you have one in the Clyde drop too, which I'll be honest, Clyde's getting stuffed at the 1 yard line by Derwin James anyway because he's not making a miss. I'll just be very honest with you. So yes, it's a drop. It's awful. And he kind of redeemed himself on the next play, in my opinion, getting those 7 yards and allowing them to get the 3rd and short.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's the one time I had it in my notes was for CEH. So good job, you guys. Appreciate you guys being in here. I'm going to jump over here in just a minute as we wrap it up to Locked On Chiefs. You can watch us over there. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you, Justin. And if you guys would like sub, hit the bell. Become part of this channel. We'll be back tomorrow night, live 7 p.m., answering your questions. You're driving the show. We're just providing the answers. We'll take a look at all the stats and the breakdowns, and I won't have the film. We're getting a chance to look at it before the Q&A, but we'll have our takeaways on rewatch off of the broadcast. So thank you for your time tonight. Enjoy this win and driving the AFC. Dan, have a great night, and glad that it worked out.
Yeah, I think my wife just got home too, so we're all falling into place right here. I thank you guys for being in here. Make sure to hit a like and a sub before you drop on out, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Sounds good. You guys have a great one. We'll talk to you then.